I'm Carson.
And I'm Jack.
And this is
Dweeb Wars!
Every week, we help a nerdy expert solve one of life's greatest dweeby mysteries.
Whoever wins the most debates by the end of the season becomes the
Head Dweeb.
Today's debate.
How much in damages is the Cabbage man owed in Avatar the Last Airbender?
We're gonna have to cover. We are gonna help you out.
Yeah.
Welcome to Dweeb Wars. I'm Cabbage Man Suzalot, the lawyer to the Cabbage for Cabbage damage, high-powered Cabbage damage lawyer. And who are you? This is Jack.
I'm Aang.
Hi guys, welcome to Dweeb Wars.
Oh my god, happy to be here with you today, talking about a very important
high-powered stuff.
Yeah, economic case, high-profile case.
That's right. One
now.
I've wondered since I was 12.
We're on The Amazing Race. If you guys care about that, which you should, and if you're local to New York City,
Come to the New York City premiere party March 5th at 9:30. If not, watch it. March 5th, 9:30.
we're
CBS.
throwing it. We're throwing the party.
CBS.
CBS after Survivor Wednesdays.
Today we're talking about Avatar the Last Airbender. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's one of the best animated shows ever made. It is so good. It's been turned into live action. It's been turned into movies. It's been turned into all sorts of stuff.
It's been turned into live action.
Yeah.
Against my
Our will, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is one of the best things ever. We are specifically talking about a character called the Cabbage Man, who continuously gets his cabbages ruined by the main characters of the television show.
My cabbages!
My cabbages! And so we're solving some mysteries today. Now, our guest today knows everything there is to know
About cabbage.
About cabbage. It's a cabbage. It's a huge cabbage. Our guest today knows everything there is to know about Avatar the Last Airbender and Korra, Legend of Korra. Why don't we bring him in? Eamon Yates! Amen. Or should we say Momo?
Hey, Momo.
I was gonna try to do the his like theme music.
I was also thinking about that. Made me think of that Nickelodeon. Hi, I'm Carl.
I'm called the orangutan. Paul.
Paul. Girl.
Paul.
Paul.
Don't put some respect on Paul's
Girl,
name.
Carl.
And Paul had
Goddard.
3 eyes. That was
Yeah.
also the
Yeah,
orangutan.
what a
He had
strange
3 eyes.
thing.
Paul.
That was
that
so
a-
strange.
Was that a production company's
Yes.
outro?
I think it was
It was
Nickelodeon's
yes.
production company. We're so
Yes.
delighted to have you on the pod.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here and talk about my literal, arguably one of my favorite things on the planet.
Yeah,
and ever
how
created.
favorite?
You know,
would you jump in front of a train for it?
Yeah, I really would. I've seen it probably. The Avatar the Last Airbender original series, I've probably seen 12 times over. I've watched it.
Oh
12
my gosh.
Legend of Korra, I've probably seen 3 or 4 times at this point. I just
Wow.
love. I fell in love with the universe. I think it's one of, you said it, it's one of the greatest shows ever made for both children. But it's also for adults.
It's ridden the line between like these three-dimensional characters that are not purely good and not purely villain.
Yeah.
It begs the question, Zuko. I mean, Zuko's
Yeah,
whole
Zuko.
arc, right? It begs the question, like,
Iroh.
Iroh, these like
Ugh,
three-dimensional sort of
Yeah.
depth.
Jet,
Jet,
a wonderful
yes,
side
Jet,
character who has
yeah.
this wild arc.
And
So many
dare
of
we
them.
say, the Cabbage Man.
Yes. All right, shall we get into it?
Let's get into
get
it.
into it.
Amen. What can we answer for you today?
This is a really critical question. I think the question that is presented to us today and that we are sitting with so heavily is, how much in damages is the Cabbage man, Cabbage merchant owed in Avatar the Last Airbender?
I am here as a representative for cabbage victims, and I will be giving you that answer.
The work you do is incredible. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for
Wait,
listening.
whoa,
Hearing out.
whoa. Let's keep this a clean and fair argument, please.
I'm simply
you like me?
acknowledging.
Are
Do
you
you like
Are you an
me?
advocate for cabbage victims?
Well, I'm going to tell you in my presentation what I'm advocating for.
Okay.
Wow.
He might be advocating that he's a villain.
Carson is going to start because Carson won the last debate.
That's right.
It is 5-3. I am down
Wow.
bigly and badly.
And whose
right
fault
now.
is that? Let's get into this gig because I have maybe my most extensive presentation. In fact, by numbers, the most extensive presentation I have ever
Wow.
delivered on this
Wow.
show.
Mine's simple and for smooth brains.
All right, we'll see.
I would never call you that.
I wasn't calling you that. I was calling
Everything just everything.
I'm here today representing my client, and I need to get to the bottom of how much is the Cabbage man owed in damages. The plaintiff, he is a lovely cabbage-loving man. He is a tax-paying Earth Kingdom citizen,
Yep.
and he is a victim to cabbage crime. Now, here are the criminal offenses. We have the incident at Omashu Gate. We have the accident at Omashu Alley. We have the wreck with Omashu Minecart, the crime at Merchants Pier, the violation at Full Moon Bay, and the injustice at Bossing Say.
Yep.
Before we get to actually how much my client is owed, we need to talk about the types of damages.
Okay.
We have cabbage loss. We have cart loss. We have opportunity cost, what he could be doing if he wasn't dealing with all of this
Opportunity
stuff.
cost, didn't
And we
think
have
about
reputation damages. Before we get to that, let's go to the currency background. What is the greatest similarity between Avatar the Last Airbender and something we have in the real world
Yeah.
so that we can talk currency? The Last Airbender is based mainly on the 19th century or late 19th century, early 20th century China. During this time in Chinese history, they're just introducing a new form of insurance, so it's the perfect time for the Cabbage man to file a claim. Now,
Wow,
the
insurance.
currency they use in the show is the yuan. Now, money is still referred to as the yuan in China today.
Objection.
What?
That's not true.
No, it is true.
No, the yuan is introduced only in the Legend of Korra. In Avatar the Last Airbender, it's gold, silver, and copper pieces.
Yes. So there is gold, silver, copper pieces, and
is
they
true.
are
This is true.
They are different.
Objection sustained.
Me and my client are asking for 0.084 yuan per cabbage. And now let me tell you why. So in 19th century China, a cabbage would likely cost a few fen. This is representative of a amount of silver, 0.5 grams of silver. 1 yuan, 1 coin in that time, would be 0.81 ounces of silver. Now that would be 22 grams, which could buy you, in this time, 14.6 cabbages, which would mean 1 cabbage would be 0.07 yuan, or
Gotcha. Yep.
that
Yep,
amount
yep,
of
yep,
coins.
yep.
Understood.
But that is only market value. My client is not only losing, when he loses cabbages, he's not only losing what he paid for the cabbages,
Losing
he
profit.
is losing the profit that he would be gaining if he
Yes.
sold that cabbages.
Yes.
Right.
Vegetables are sold between a 10 to 30% profit
Oh my
margin.
gosh.
So
How low? That is sad.
I know, it is sad.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took the
Oh.
average of that 20%, which means I added that to the price. So when he loses a cabbage, 1 cabbage equals 0.084 yuan.
Okay.
That is what I'm asking for in terms of cabbage loss. Let's talk cart loss.
Okay.
My client uses custom changeable carts to suit needs of the market and customer. He uses 2 types of carts.
How is it? Where's it custom? Well, how's it custom?
Look at it. He custom builds. He both has
Well,
roofed.
he could have bought it from a cart
Yeah, I
manufacturer.
was gonna say,
Potentially.
where's
Now, here's the thing.
Where's the evidence that it's custom?
He's a tough judge.
So if he built these carts, right, there's roofed or unroofed. Now, in the 19th century China, the average person was 5.4 inches tall, the average male.
5.4 inches.
Sorry.
Why?
The average male was 5 feet 4 inches tall. Now, in this
Wow.
picture, we can see him next to the cart, so we can begin to understand how long and how
Height of the cart.
high the cart
Right.
is.
Okay.
Now, me and my client are asking 27 yuan per unroofed cart and 28 yuan per roofed cart. Let me tell you why. So we frame of an unroofed cart or any cart is going to be 5x2 on the long side and 3x2 on the short side. I calculated that in cubic meters. That would be 0.22652 meters cubed. So I did some research on, in 19th century China, the price of wood per cubic meter. So that would mean it's 26.7 yuan per cart. Now that's no wheels or rest legs. So we're gonna round that up to 27 with those small additions for unroofed. Now the roof is made of hay, so we're adding 1 more yuan.
Cheap.
We're asking 1 more yuan for hay, which is very
Okay.
cheap. It's accessible, but also labor to put it up. Now every minute my client is not selling cabbages, he's losing money.
Yeah.
Instead of cleaning other people.
Girl, every minute. Like, he's never selling cabbages.
That is not true. That is not true. Listen, we believe that this comes down to 0.075 yuan per hour. In around 1910, 10, a worker would earn 0.05 to 0.1 yuan per hour. Based on an average 8-hour day, that would be 0.6 yuan per day. Reputation damages. Now, this is an interesting one. My client has spent his life developing a pristine reputation that was left in tatters. We are asking for a 5.5 yuan per person who witnessed this each event. Because here's the deal. It is an emotional relationship. The cabbage seller, cabbage client relationship is very personal, right? I go to my cabbage seller. I know their touch. I know their touch. I know their work. I mean, it's a very personal relationship.
Yeah,
so we
sure.
compared this to a breakup. Now, the average breakup takes 2.56 months for an ex to come back.
Wow.
So let's say an average cabbage buyer is buying 7 cabbages a week, 1 per day, feeding their family, right? That would be 0.5 yuan a week. Now, over 11 weeks, which is 2.5 months to actually miss your cabbage seller and come back, that's going to be 5.5 yuan on average until they come back. So we're asking 5.5 per witness that is not going to come because they think he looks like a fool. Those are the types of damages.
Let's get to the juice.
Offense number 1, the incident at Omashu Gate. Here it is.
Cabbages? What kind of slum do you think this is?
It's tough to watch.
Oh, my cabbages! My cabbages!
Now, I'm going to say something here that might surprise you. I believe here there are no viable cabbages that were harmed. The person who, when he arrives at the gate, he says, rotten cabbage. I do not believe that my client could have sold these cabbages.
Yep.
However, does that make the actions of this guard correct? Absolutely not. He knocked his whole cart over a bridge, tumbling it to the ground.
Cart loss.
Cart loss.
Cart loss.
Cart loss is definitely at play here. So cart, no roof, that's going to be 27 yuan. Opportunity cost, let's say he spent a half a day getting into Omashu and building a new cart. I'm going to say that's 0.5 yuan. And the reputation, there were 5 witnesses here. That's going to be 27.5 yuan. Total damages owed 57 yuan for this first incident.
Okay.
Second incident, the accident in Omashu Alley.
This one's a classic.
Boom.
My cabbages! You're gonna pay for this!
That one's a little funnier. I'm not gonna lie. I don't mean. Oh, I mean.
You're a
Oh my god, it's
hunter.
awful.
It's funny that these villains are still on the run. That is what's funny.
Wow.
Wow.
The defendant here is Aang. We did some math here. 106 cabs in total, 8.9 yuan in losses. A roofed cabbage cart. We have our cabbage losses. Opportunity cost another half day to build. We have 4 guard witnesses. That's some yuan. The third incident is mysterious and insane. The wreck with Omashu minecart.
My cabbages!
Classic.
The defendant here is King Boomy. No one knows what happens. All we know is my cabbages. Cart, unknown. I assume he has a cart, but I don't know he has a cart. I don't know the opportunity cost, and I don't know who were there. What I do know is my cabbages were lost. Now, if we're going off the average cabbages that are filling up his cart, I'm going to go with 8.9 yuan.
Wow.
Next is the crime at Merchant's Pier. Look at how much he loves
He
it.
does love them. He loves those cabbages.
Look, he won't even let him touch the floor.
It's incredible. A speed of agility.
He didn't have to do that.
My cabbages! This place is worse than Omashu!
This place is worse than Omashu. We're going to go with 160 cabs at the yuan price. That is
Wow.
going to be 13.44
He was
yuan.
packing that day.
He stacked differently this time. But we're asking for 58.
As is his right.
58
That's
yuan.
his right.
Next one, the violation at Full Moon Bay Ferry to Bang Sing Se.
Security! My cabbages!
You can see the utter
Distress.
distress. She says one cabbage slug could ruin the entire ecosystem without even checking if there's a cabbage slug in there. That is complete government mispractice. So that's 100 cabs, 8.4 yuan. There are at least 24 witnesses in this scene. There is a wave of refugees coming and seeking refuge in Ba Sing Se. So we are asking for 132 yuan
Wow.
for the 24, at least. All we have is video evidence of 24 witnesses.
Classic.
injustice
Classic.
in Ba Sing
Tale
Se.
of what is it? Tales of Ba Sing Se. This was
He gives up. You know why he gave up in this? At first, my client thought he could get no money from this case. The reason why is he saw a wild animal. Now, he says forget it because it's a wild animal. He can't do anything about it. This Rabaroo cannot pay and has no owner. However, he does have an owner. The defendants are Kenji, the zoo owner,
Yes, they
and
are.
Aang, who released the Rabaru into public. We're asking for 157 cabs, which is 13 yuan. No one is here to witness it, so we're not asking for any reputation reparations here. Just cart, cabbage, and opportunity loss. My client is owed 391 yuan, preferred to be paid in Earth Nation coin. If 1 yuan is 0.81 ounce silver, that means my client in the late 19th or earliest 20th century would be owed 316.71 ounces of silver, equal to 367 US dollars. That money today would equal 11,628
Wow.
US dollars. And that is what I'm asking my client be paid promptly.
That really was a great presentation, Carson. I
Thank you.
really was an impressive collection of history and information.
You know what? Hey guys,
Hey.
it's me. That was intense back there.
Yeah.
It was intense.
But you did
I'm proud of
awesome.
stepping out of my comfort zone.
You did awesome.
And going numbers based.
Firstly, I wanted to talk about currency. Similarly to Carson, we came to different conclusions here. Currency is gold, silver, and copper. We see that Aang was able to buy a flying bison whistle for 1 copper. I think that also seems like something you might be able to buy a cabbage for. Also, I noted, maybe more importantly, in the US right now, we have a grocery store price of around $2 to $3 per cabbage. If we split the difference, we're talking about $2.50. Now, what is 1 cart worth on average? I thought I would let Carson do the dirty work here. I just figured because he had to go first that maybe he would do something here. I'm glad that decision
27
paid
yuan.
off. And as Carson pointed out, there were X incidents where cabbages
6,
were lost.
maybe 7.
6, maybe 7. But now here's the real kicker, and I want you to watch this.
Okay, talk to us.
Carson already played this clip, but I have a couple of
Theory.
other things to say about it.
Yep.
This is trying to enter Bossing Say.
I told you already. No vegetables on the ferry. 1 cabbage slug could destroy the entire ecosystem of Ba Sing Se. Security! My cabbages!
Okay. Now that we've seen that in full, what was that? Is that a cabbage?
Is that a cabbage slug?
It's like,
I have 5 pictures of a cabbage slug flying
Is
through
it a
the
cabbage
air.
slug?
The internet agrees. Proof of the slug. On Reddit, turns out the woman single-handedly saved Ba Sing Se. Sadly, the lady was right. In one frame, you can see a cabbage slug flying
Wow.
across. Everyone in the comments agreed. Okay. As you had said earlier, this was an accusation unfounded. I believe it is founded.
Wow.
it's founded.
Then the My Cabbages man is taken under arrest. So they don't just take the contraband, right? Or try to destroy the contraband. He's actually taken by guards and taken away. You cannot use this kind of force unless someone is being legally detained or arrested, right? This implies he's being detained or he's broken the law, the crime of attempting to traffic vegetables, as she says, between ports.
Wow.
So his contraband is then searched, as is port security protocol. So in America, when you bring in food that is not allowed into America, you have to pay a fine of $10,000.
Wow.
Now, what happens when a suspect's contraband is taken? What happens to illegal cabbages seized at the border? Now, I edited in the word cabbages. The word was drugs. However, I do believe that this is probably what's
This is a
happened.
family friendly
Wow.
podcast.
I
I
Family-friendly
do believe this
podcast.
is probably what happens when any
cabbages.
contraband is
Yeah,
taken,
I
right?
mean-
When cabbages are seized at the border, they're immediately taken and tested to identify what the substance is. After that, the path the cabbage takes depends on if there's further investigation or prosecution. Now, what would they find during the investigation?
Uh-oh.
The cabbage slug.
Yep.
Okay. So what happens after a ecosystem threatening pest, bacteria, or disease is identified? They are fined. Here we have
Not
one
NPR,
on the
oh my
bottom
God,
here.
not
You can see a
NPR.
$7 million fine over
Wow.
salmonella. We also have this case, Dairy Gold, which was an E. coli outbreak for $318,000. And even a small one
Wow.
like this, which was E. coli, was only $8,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Now the question is
Wow.
not how much does the My Cabbage man is he owed in damages. The question is how much does My Cabbages owe the government? Here's what I have to say. Cabbage Man is owed what Carson said, which was around
$11,000
$11,600 US. Minus the cabbage cart and the cabbages that got confiscated in the contraband bus, then the $10,000 that is owed to the government for trafficking vegetables into Ba Sing Se. Then between $8,000 and $7 million, depending on if the slug were only a threat that they found or if it actually disrupted the ecosystem of Ba Sing Se, which equals he owes the government between-ish $10,000 to $6.9 million US dollars in fines.
Wow. Wow.
And that's all I have. It's simple, but I think it's effective, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Wow.
Can I have a rebuttal, or would you like to respond?
I would, yeah, shoot. Let's
I
hear
think
it.
this is, can I give you a handshake? I think this is unbelievable work you've done here. Now, while I completely love this take, I have done everything in my power to remove any hearsay or nothing that is total fact. While this is an incredible take, it all hinges upon knowing for sure that that is a cabbage slug.
It does have a mouth.
Now, what if it's just a white leafy green? Now, while it definitely could be a cabbage slug. We have no proof. Nobody's saying that that is a cabbage slug.
Well, then what I would rebut is that he at least committed the crime of attempting to break in the cabbages into Ba Sing Se, correct? Which would be a $10,000 fine, which brings down what he thinks should be owed to around $1,000, which is closer to my bet than his.
And this was really tough. I really wasn't sure how this was going to go again, because I think both after Carson spoke, I was like, okay, here we go. This makes a lot of sense. And the fact that he wasn't asking for too much, I was thinking. But Jack, your presentation, I believe your presentation was the closest to the truth for the circumstances of this. Further exploration to go to exactly how much Cabbage Man might owe or is owed, etc.
But it might be in the negative.
Is it $6 million? I don't know. I don't know if it's $6 million. But
I gave a range.
But you did give a range. You did give a range,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's certainly more in this. We can appeal this and whatever, and we can continue the conversation.
The appellate court.
The appellate court, the circuits. We can move to the circuit courts. But I do, Jack. Wow. I'm going to hand you.
Thank you.
The medal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I think I'll go into a little more of where this decision came from.
This is my last day as a lawyer.
And
You lost your big high-profile case.
Carson, you really.
You'll never see me again.
No. If anything, I think the path that I took into this question was really what kind of sold Jack's argument for me. Because what really stuck out to me about this scenario and the scenario in Avatar the Last Airbender is the wartime scenario. Now, if we are talking about
Government oversight.
government borders, government
Tight.
government
It's
oversight.
tight.
Things are tight. Things are heightened
you cannot
during
get in,
wartime.
yeah.
And I think what I'm not arguing is that are any of these more militarized, more policed behaviors of government officials and government institutions warranted or healthy for a
Growing society.
A growing society. That's not what I'm arguing.
Right.
What I am arguing is the case and the fact of how governments and bureaucracies exist during wartime eras, and these times are scary. They are tight, and the border woman would do her darndest to protect any and all contraband, diseases, bacteria. Because think about it: if you are Ba Sing Se, if you're controlling the movement in and out of Ba Sing Se. If one cabbage slug can destroy the entire ecosystem of your largest, most important city,
It's
And
done.
not even on wartime. I see it on planes all the time.
Sure.
It's like at JFK, it always says pigs don't fly.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
don't fly.
And it's like don't bring bacon on the plane.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I think
we're
it
talking
was-
tough times.
Yeah,
We're
it
talking
was,
scary
yeah.
times.
I think that is such a revelation. I think you did such an amazing job. And yeah, again too, it's like I feel like what you had, which I maybe tried to falsify with sort of the like and there's a seventh incident,
Yeah,
right? Is this
yeah.
mic drop moment,
Yeah,
right? The cabbage
yeah.
slug, you unearthed something new. And I think that's what shakes a court.
And if this was to go to court, there was, going back to the first episode with Omashu and the rotten cabbages, there was precedent
There's
for problematic
Right.
cabbages.
Amen. Thank you.
You are awesome.
was fantastic.
It's so crazy too because you know so much about history, and I like the way that this cabbage. You know so much about Avatar, but the way that it's had so much to do with history and government oversight and things like that. Like, I'm just so happy that you're here with us
Yeah.
because it brought us so much insight and
Totally.
Yeah, no, I'm honored to be here. I was so happy this was the topic. This was the perfect, most exciting thing. Like, if I could talk about the Cabbage Man and Imperial Japan and the Qing Dynasty China every day, I would. I would choose to have these
Same time
discussions.
tomorrow?
So this was same time tomorrow. Same time next week. Same time tomorrow. This was so fun. You guys are. I love you both. You're so fun. Had such
ya.
a blast.
Love ya.
Yeah.
see you next time. We will be doing a dweeb piece where me and Jack will come together in harmony to discuss something, and also watch The Amazing Race on CBS and Paramount Plus. And anything
ya.
else?
Love ya.
My cabbages remix.